All right, these are some parts we're going to work on for Mark in the next week or so. And as you can see, this is going to be something we have to repair. And I think I have a way I'm going to be able to recreate this recess real nice with a piece of tubing or something. I don't know. Part, of course, is cracked. There's a piece missing. He gave me the part. I have to recreate a part up here from scratch. Have to fix this piece. He's already bonded this in the back with fiberglass just to keep it in one piece. I'm looking around that's that part. We have to remove all the decals, sand the whole part at the end, and these decals are underneath clear, so it's going to mean removing a lot of paint. This has to be removed. This has to be removed. I have to, you can see the part I have to make up here. I have to recreate that piece. I have to recreate there's another piece on this, I think, but I'm not sure. Nope, it's not there. That's that one. So Mark has already done the reinforcement and located the bolts. And that was the main thing, because once those bolts are located, now I can work the cosmetic side of it. So this looks like it's going to be you know, relatively straightforward thing that I can share with the people on YouTube of how we do these parts, how we recreate them, and how we refinish them. Now, anytime you start at this kind of a restoration project, a rebuild, step one is always exactly the same. Clean it, both sides, all the areas, let it soak. In this case, because it's early in the morning, I don't have to worry. That can soak. Karen is making me up a cup of coffee. The simple green is the best way I know to just get rid of most of this. And Bounty paper towels. Bounty is the paper towel that I like to use. No special reason, it just seems to do the job real well. Now, if I let this sit 5 minutes, it's going to get even better. But I wanted to show this now. I have to decide right away. There's some sticky stuff on here. It looks like somebody had, I don't know what this is. I wanted to see if this is going to loosen up. I'm probably going to have to go to a stronger solvent on that. But rather than rush it, it's a good excuse to have my coffee. Now, once the part is clean with the simple green, and we're only going to get a certain amount of this off, but I don't want to have any grease, because grease winds up embedding itself into the finish, and then you have all kind of problems with bubbles and delamination and whatever. And you definitely never sand over something greasy. It just drives the grease down in. Now, once that's done, the next step is we got our old prep oil that's in a can that's about 100 years old here. Anyway, the prep oil will get even more degreasing. Sometimes it'll take some of this sticker, there's residues from the sticker here, but it cleans up most of all where we're going to have to recreate this little piece, and that's going to be, well, maybe challenging. You never know until you do it. And making the mount areas is going to be another little thing that I think is going to be pretty creative when we're done with it. But step one, as always, is the part has to be clean. Now it has the look of I had to resort to using acetone here. A lot of times acetone will take the paint off too, so, but you never know who painted this or how old the paint is or what type of paint it is. And because this is a bike that was made in Japan, you never know. It doesn't have to meet up to American standards or anything of paint. Who knows? Now, all right, this is where the tricky stuff begins. This is the good part, or the part that has it's got a fastener. Now Mark gave me a fastener here. Where the hell is it? Here it is. But you can see it's not in place. It's not in a piece. So what I'm going to have to do, Brodax CA, and this is just to get it in place. Doesn't look like exactly the same fastener, but it's very similar. So that'll set, at least hold that in place. Put a little kicker on it. Give that a few seconds to dry. Now I can build this up a little bit, and I need to make a little piece out of some of the material that I have, which is really 1/8 inch plywood. I need to make that little piece. It looks like a little half moon there, and I'll cut that out of plywood scrap. So right now all I need to do is just roughly get this shape. And we're halfway through there. Nothing real scientific. And roughly then I have to take into account the piece that's going to be missing in the bottom, and then go over to the saw, the little bandsaw, and saw it out. Now we'll have to obviously cut and fine tune this a little bit, this little piece, but this material is about 10 times stronger than the plastic that these things are molded from. You could never make a model plane from that plastic that the fairings are molded from, but this you can. It's laminated plywood. It's made for model airplanes, and it makes great repairs to fairings. Little tabs for the side covers, and in this case, the pieces that are broken here. And because you could never buy these parts brand new, it's impossible. Or you pay $1 million for them on eBay or Japan eBay. This allows you to do some pretty creative stuff to be able to fix it. Now with this piece tack glued in and it's still rough, we got to sand it in and whatever. Thick CA again on the whole part. And what this is going to do is just let us build up enough material, and then we can Dremel tool it. And this, by the way, is aircraft grade fiberglass, very tight weave. Not the stuff you buy in AutoZone that's thick and bulky and has big air pockets. So it's a little bit stronger. Now once I get that on there, and I'm going to build up a layer of CA, exactly what Mark has done here. In fact, I gave him that material to work with. So the part of this job that he did, and I hope that by seeing how I've been able to do this anyway and salvage many of these antique parts, I hope other people are going to be able to do these little repairs on their motorcycles too. So this side now is hardened up. Now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. Put another piece of this cloth. I'll trim this off. Put another piece of this aircraft cloth on this side. This will sandwich this in. It'll definitely be stronger than the original part. Then we have to move in. This is going to be a little more complex because the bolt is on an angle. So now we're sandwiched in on both sides. I'm not worried about the cosmetic part of it yet, but we've got that piece recreated. Now this piece, and I'm going to have to try to eyeball this, is on an angle. So I'm going to have to, I'm not sure exactly I'm going to make this in two pieces or what. I need to make this piece first, similar to how I made this. I need to tack it in place, fiberglass it in place, and of course just using this for a pattern. So, and using the 1/8 inch plywood to recreate this. When this is done and finished and soaked with CA, you'll never see the difference. And this part right here is going to be way stronger than this. So this is just a very rough pattern. I'll oversize it. Of course, it's got to be mirror imaged and flipped over to be on the other side, but I'll get some idea of how close I'm going to be able to get this. And because this part has already been fixed already, and who knows what that material, I'm going to grind some of that away. I made this piece with the grain going straight up and down. There we go. And what I'm going to do is just tack glue that into position, and once that glue dries, then I have a spine from putting in that angle. I'm going to have to build it up with material and grind in that angle. Now with the spine installed, you can see the next part of this that's going to be tricky to figure out. This piece is on an angle. So what I need to do is cut a piece of material that's bigger than this, glue it on, and then put that angle in. And I'll basically do that. I'll make another laminate of this, make that piece. It's going to be a messy job, but because I need to, at the end, Dremel tool in this angle on this side. Now, if you look what I did is just 2 laminates of wood. I marked out where this piece, and I can do this with a Dremel tool relatively quickly anyway. Just rough it in. I know I've got to go in 1/8 of an inch so that when I start to see the second piece, I know I've gone far enough. Now I'm going to have to go back and forth until I get that notch just right. Now that notch looks pretty close as I mirror image them up. It looks like we've got, well, pretty close. I made a little template so the holes should be close. I want to put fiberglass cloth on both sides now, using CA, of course. We'll see how this is going to work out. Now what I think Mark is going to have to do is take this, because we don't have the bike here. This is the problem. If I had the bike here, I could do this here. Is to take these parts, mount them up, and make sure this notch doesn't have anything funny happening. Again, this is that aircraft fiberglass. Just laying it in. This is to reinforce it. We'll get off all the overage. So now the next thing, I have to trim this off. Just run a piece of sandpaper on that. And pretty much do the same thing over the back. Now you notice two things. That the first part of any job is cleaning and the structure. Once the structure is done, now we don't have enough time in this session to do the cosmetic work. We'll leave that for the next section. We're going to do the grinding. I have some ideas for recreating that. This piece looks like it's going to be fine, but what I think, and the more I think this through, I'm going to have Mark do is, once these parts are in prime, take them home, just roughly get the bike in and make sure all of these little nooks and crannies and new things that we've put in here are going to work, because I don't want to do all the cosmetic work. That's going to be in the next video, will be the cosmetic work. I got to get off these stickers. I got to do a lot of sanding, So it's going to be a long session. And this was a big thing to get done today, to get these parts recreated and get them that they're mirror images and that they both have roughly the same angle. We're very close on that, and well, we'll know once Mark puts the bike together if this is going to be acceptable, or most of the stuff that we've done here is going to be hidden by the upper fairing. So we're going to see. Anyway, it's a very unique bike, and hope you enjoyed watching the video, and of course share it with your friends, and thanks for watching. And we'll pick this up probably the next couple of days.